Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to our new YouTube channel. My name is Jake, and I'm one of the creators here at Save the Z. As many of you guys know, we recently took a Junkyard Find 1975 280Z and decided to bring her back to life. However, this was not your typical Junkyard Find. Okay, this thing had an IMSA wide body kit on it, Hayashi Racing 505 rims, triple Mikuni carburetors under the hood, and possibly even more than that. But today we wanted to kind of backtrack a little bit and explain how we found the car, where we found the car, and maybe give you guys a little bit of insight as to where we're wanting to go with this project. So the way we came across the car is we were actually at a junkyard that we've been to a couple times before. It's called Desert Valley Auto Parts, and it's located here in Casa Grande, Arizona. By the way, shout out to everybody over at Desert Valley. You guys have all been awesome, helping us get parts for other cars and helping us get this car. We ultimately wouldn't be here right now if it weren't for your guys' help, so thank you guys again for everything that you've done. But anyways, we were at the junkyard. We were stripping parts off of an old Ranchero that they had there, stripping bumpers off, getting parts of the engine out, whatnot. And we looked to our right and we saw the 280Z just sitting there, just almost like she was begging for somebody to take her home. We walked around the car a little bit, kind of checked it out here and there, and ultimately at the end of the day I posted a video just kind of asking, hey, should we build a project car? Not really thinking anything of it, to be honest, and it completely blew up on the internet. I think that video is actually sitting at almost 800,000 views now, which is just mind-blowing. I did not think it would go that far. But as soon as we saw your guys' reaction to the car, we knew we had to go back. We had to get this vehicle. I think literally the next day we went back and put down a deposit to hold the car until we could come up with the rest of the money. As soon as we had the money available, we ran right back over to the junkyard, got her on a flatbed, and took her home. Now, as far as junkyard finds go, this car really was not in bad shape. Obviously, sitting out here in the Arizona sun, it did get beat up on a little bit. The entire interior is probably where it got hit the worst. All the fabric, all the seats, everything in the car just basically crumbled and fell apart as we started messing with the vehicle. The body of the Z really isn't in bad shape either. There is a little bit of rust here and there, and some cracking where the wide body panels actually were molded onto the body. Other than that, it's really a straight body. There's no big dents or anything. None of the fiberglass is super bashed up. With a little bit of work, everything on this vehicle can be brought back to its pristine condition. Now, when it comes to the motor and the transmission and the rest of the powertrain, that's probably what had me kind of the most concerned. We didn't know why this car went to the junkyard. We didn't know if the motor was bad, if it had rust in the cylinders. We didn't know what was going on with it. We didn't know why somebody would junk this vehicle. So we started with the mechanics right off the bat. If you guys saw the videos on Instagram and TikTok, we immediately started going through spraying the cylinders down with a lubricant to break up any rust that might be in there. We put in a new battery, new spark plugs along with wires, rotator cap, and a coil. Went through, redid all the fuel lines, fuel pump, and flushed the fuel tank, and the car started right up. Just a couple days, I think not even 2 weeks of having the vehicle, this thing was running again. And I'm gonna say it one more time. I don't get why this thing was in a junkyard. It just does not make sense to me. But anyways, moving on from that. People have been asking what kind of body kit is on this vehicle. We did some research and found that it is an old IMSA wide body kit. I guess these were pretty popular back in the 80s and 90s. The rims that are on the vehicle, actually, I had a follower of us actually reach out and tell us what rims they were. These are a set of Hayashi Racing 505 rims. This rim was produced anywhere between, I believe, 1985 to 1990, and they are wrapped in probably some of the biggest tires I have ever seen on a vehicle, just in general. This thing has 345 wide tires in the rear and a 285 up front. Now, to put that in perspective, a Lamborghini Aventador SVJ has a 355 wide tire in the rear. Just think about that. This car is 10 millimeters off from an Aventador SVJ size tire. That is just insane. I mean, on a 1975 280Z, this thing has to be just glued to the road. Now, the only brand that we can actually get tires for this car from anymore is Pirelli. I guess this is actually the same setup that one of the old De Tomaso Panteras had, and Pirelli's the only one that we can get that size tire for a 15-inch rim anymore. One tire alone is about $1,000, so that's gonna be a lot of money just in tires alone, but we want to do this right. We want to bring her back to what she was, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. We want people to remember the track animal that this thing was meant to be. Now, a lot of people have been asking about the history and the background of the vehicle. I did as much research as I could. We got a little lucky and actually found a bunch of old receipts left from the previous owner in the car. All we know right now, though, is that this car came from Colorado Springs, Colorado. I think the oldest receipt that I found was back from 1985 when he was actually getting an alignment done on the vehicle. But other than that, I haven't really found a ton of history on the vehicle itself. So a lot of that still kind of remains a mystery. We're not sure, how it ended up here. Again, why it was sitting in a junkyard. I can't get over that. This thing was obviously somebody's baby. And the amount of work and money that they already had into this is just insane to have it end up in a junkyard. In terms of plans that we have for the build, I can tell you right now that we are definitely keeping the wide body on there. We think it makes the vehicle look really unique and it makes it just look really nice and aggressive. We're keeping the rims that are on here. They're kind of a timeless piece and we feel like they complement the vehicle really well. We're not sure 100% about what color we want to do. We're all kind of undecided and we've all kind of got our own personal opinions of what we think it should be. So we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to let you guys vote when we get closer to actually needing to paint the vehicle. Do you guys want to see a solid color? Do you want to see like a two-tone? Would you want to see an IMSA kind of race car replica? We're going to leave it up to you guys. We'll probably do a poll on Instagram and kind of let the voting go on there. When it comes to the engine, we definitely want to stay naturally aspirated and try to get as much power out of this motor as we can. Obviously, this guy has the triple Mikuni carbs on there already, and he does have a set of headers on there. They're kind of like a DIY house-made kind of headers that he just welded a bunch of pipes together. But we're not sure what all else has been done to the motor. We know that it is an L24 block, which for those of you who don't know, the L24 was actually the engine that came in the 240Zs. But we're not sure if he has swapped out any camshafts. We're not sure if that block is bored or not. So we definitely want to dig into that a little bit more before we start doing, upgrades to the motor or anything. We definitely want to go through and get a high performance suspension installed. We'll probably do coilovers, some really nice control arms and whatnot. I'm kind of surprised this thing actually still had its stock suspension with the size tires that this thing had on it. But we're going to go through, upgrade all of that. The interior, we're probably going to do a quick release steering wheel, and we're going to put in some nice racing seats in there. Obviously all that'll have to be done after we swap out the floor pans and the frame rails. As we showed you guys, they were pretty rusted and bashed up. And then maybe put something like a half roll cage in there. In the videos to come, we definitely do want to give you guys a more in-depth view of some of the work that we've already done and the work that we are going to continue to do, and also bring you guys a cost breakdown of parts that we purchased for the vehicle. I know that's something a lot of you guys have asked for. I also just want to take a second and thank you guys all again for all your love and all your support for this build. It's just so awesome, and I'm really excited to see where it goes. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.